Hello, everybody. It's Elena. Welcome to my show, the Elena Barbera Show, here on the Patriots Prayer Network. It is Friday, September 13th, and I'm going to go over the debate this week. I could spend a week doing commentary on the debate, to be perfectly honest, because there were so many uh, lies and exaggerations and twisting of the truth that Kamala Harris did that I could just go on, and I can't even cover everything. So I'm just going to cover some of my highlights that I found particularly interesting. Um, let's just get right into this. Here's where we're going to start with the first thing, one of the first things she said.
On this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook, a bunch of lies, grievances, and name calling.
Okay, that is probably the first and only thing that she said during this debate that I agree with, because all we heard was a bunch of lies, a bunch of twisting of the truth, and some name calling from her. But she did say it in a very poised, very rehearsed, clear way, which is unusual for her, and I will give her credit where it's due. She lied about crime rates. She lied about her position on guns. She lied about her position on fracking. She lied about a woman's right to have autonomy over her body, but she was okay with forcing vaccines on all the women in the military, even pregnant women. All that was okay. She lied about Charlottesville, but those aren't even ones that I'm really going deep into. What I'll tell you, though, some of the clips that I'm about to show you, if you're like me, it's going to be like, I have this here for visual. Like if I took this fork and I put it against this plate and I just rubbed it down real slow and hard, that sound, that's what these clips sound like. Her voice. That's how I feel about Kamala Harris. Actually, I'd rather listen to the plate or nails on a chalkboard. But, we have a country to save, so we have to deal with this. We have to suffer through. Let's get into these issues.
Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
Did she just admit that Donald Trump was right all along when he was saying that China was responsible for COVID, and they were calling him a racist and a conspiracy theorist, and all of us that were like, hey, maybe we should look into that. We all had our voices suppressed on every time we asked a question on Facebook and every social media. How about that? How did that add up? What about just a few weeks ago, Mark Zuckerberg came out and wrote a formal letter to Congress saying that the Biden-Harris administration pressured him to suppress our questions and our voices and our opinions, including this came out of China. We were all supposed to believe that. And now she's not only acknowledging that Donald Trump is right, she's using it against him as if she knew all along. I mean, what kind of a psychopath you have to be to gaslight somebody that hard? And how did he not turn around and say everything I just said? Are you out of your mind, girl? You tortured me about that. And now you're saying that you knew too? You're admitting it? I mean, just the level of insanity for me watching this debate was very, very hard to take. Personally, I really struggled. It was like I was screaming at the TV at times, because I can stand being, off put by a differing opinion or a different way of looking at something, but to have somebody be handed a nomination and then thrown up on a national debate stage and just flat out lie is infuriating as an American. And anyone who was going to let her off the hook on this just because they hate Donald Trump, I mean, I really don't have any respect for anybody that's like that, to be perfectly honest. Let's look at her next beauty.
All the time, who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Not in hate and division, not focused on skin color. Remember when she put this tweet out? This was for the Minnesota Freedom Fund. I believe that's, forgive me, my eyes are shot. Yeah, Minnesota Freedom Fund. This was a fund that was used to bail out people who were rioting, burning down buildings, and looting because, St. George Floyd was killed. Or he actually wasn't killed. The autopsy has since proven that he died of a fentanyl overdose, but we just overlook that in the name of social justice. That entire thing was based on racism. It was all about Black Lives Matter, and it was the most divisive thing. And she, as a senator, went out and stood up for the criminals who burned a city down. And her running mate was the governor of that city. Let's not forget that. This woman is a psychopathic liar. And talk about divisive, and to call him divisive. I mean, I don't know about you guys, man, but this just makes me want to flip a table. Then this is another, just to add good times. They just today, the White House put up a list. So this is actually kind of funny because here she says, we don't divide. We need a leader who isn't going to divide by race and all this and just keep and worry about the aspirations and the dreams. She said the words aspirations and dreams like 10 times in the debate. I was like, shut up. Like they must have just burned that into her pea brain. So the aspirations of dreams of all Americans, BS, Kamala, because today your White House tweeted, the Biden-Harris administration actions to advance equity and opportunity for Black Americans, with a long list of things you did just for Black people. Just for Black people. The Biden-Harris administration is proud to be making the most investments in Black America ever. We will continue to push forward, ensure freedom, justice, and equality for all. Black, 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 Black. You were trying so hard on this Black vote, and then at the same time saying that you don't do that. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh, and then, yeah, this was fun. This was just funny because remember a few weeks ago or this summer at some point, Donald Trump said something about Black jobs and everybody went crazy, like he was running around with a KKK hood on, right? No hood. But apparently it's okay when Joe says it.
Years we created over 2 million new Black jobs for Black Americans and Black.
2 million Black jobs. He's allowed to say it, and it's not racist. Imagine that. There was a time when a president would say, we created over 2 million jobs, good paying jobs for American citizens. That was it. We used to just be Americans. Now we're Black and white and Latino and Asian and queer and pan and furries. We need furry jobs. I'm surprised we haven't heard about furry jobs. I guess because most of the furries are young, but soon we're going to be hearing about, furries in the workplace, and they get to wear their costumes wherever they are. We're going to have furries as priests in some blasphemous churches soon, I'm sure. They can't think of enough ways to divide us and label us. And then they gaslight us and say that we were the ones that did it. But we've got more lies. I've got more lies for you here. Let's see. Let me bust out the next one. Here we go.
What you're going to hear tonight is a detailed and dangerous plan called Project 2025 that the former president intends on implementing if he were elected again.
This one is particularly egregious because we're hearing nothing but Project 2025 from the left, when again and again and again and again, the president and everyone with a half a brain or the ability to be honest, I should say, because Kamala knows what's what, knows that Project 2025 is not Donald Trump's platform. That's basically a conservative wish list put together by the Heritage Foundation, some of which aligns with Donald Trump's platform, which was up until recently called Agenda 47. So he's had Agenda 47, his full platform, up for over a year. There are videos on his Rumble channel over a year old. I've been doing videos, shorts on my Instagram and TikTok channels, piece by piece, going through Agenda 47, trying to educate people so they know what it is his platform is, without, because they're certainly not going to get it from the mainstream news. The mainstream media only talks about this Project 2025, which has nothing to do with Trump. Now, for a presidential candidate to get up on stage and just flat out lie like that, and not get fact checked the way he got fact checked on everything he said, and not get fact checked is really disgraceful. I learned today that the female moderator is a sorority sister of Kamala Harris. And we also knew in advance that the head of the network is a very close personal friend of Kamala Harris. It was obvious that they ganged up on Donald Trump and that they were all for supporting Harris. She probably, I would speculate she had the questions in advance. But you don't really need the questions in advance. It's pretty straightforward. You know what you're going to be asked if you have, if you have decent strategists around you. Really disappointing, though, I have to say. Very disappointing that she would just flat out lie like that. We can switch, though. We can switch from lies now to just absurdities, because that's where she also went through. This was one of my most favorites. Oh wait, it's gonna take a second. I'm slow on the uptake on the production tonight. Here we go.
One of the reasons why in this election, I actually have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney.
I love how she says it with the smile at the end there, like as if it's a good thing. Are you kidding me, Kamala? Dick Cheney, the left has hated this man for decades. They could not say enough awful things about him, no matter what. Dick Cheney is a warmonger. He should be dead. Listen to what somebody said in 2011. NBC News reported. Colin Powell's chief of staff said that Cheney fears being tried as a war criminal. That same year, ABC News says that Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson said Cheney was a very vindictive person. Like this is the light stuff. This is like the people that didn't hate him that much. 2018, the dude has a heart transplant. Dan Kennedy, this Northeastern University lib professor, he says, damn, no more jokes about Cheney not having a pulse. His only remaining medical problem is no reflection when he looks in the mirror. The guy had a heart transplant, you animal. Some other internet troll said that the heart was wasted on a war criminal. This is how much the left hates him. It is so rich that she's like, and we have Dick Cheney. Like, you know what? You know who else hates Dick Cheney? Now the right hates him too. We hate him too. He is a warmonger. Guy gets rich. He's like, he bathes in blood of soldiers. It's sick. In 2018, there was a movie made about him. Remember the movie Vice? The director, this guy, Adam McKay, he told the New York Times that Cheney is, and I quote, way worse than a frothing maniac with a meat cleaver. So this is what they really think of Cheney. And now she's bragging. Like, who told her to brag on Cheney being on your side? I was like, that part, I laughed out loud and I was just embarrassed for her. Because it doesn't mean that Dick Cheney has changed. It means that the Democrats, which we have loads of evidence based on everything they do, they are now the party of war, and they are warmongers. And she is part and owned and operated by the military-industrial complex. Kamala has no say in anything. She never will. Joe didn't. Kamala never will. She will just do whatever it is that they say. I'm going to check out the comments real quick here. Yep, Janine, Cheney and his daughter are the military-industrial complex. Yeah, it's amazing Hi to somebody listening in West Florida. All right. The Cheneys are rhinos and they have TDS. They have Trump derangement syndrome. Yes, Levine consult Levine. I think that's our friend Alexandra, who has her show on this network, Alexandra 360. That's really good on Tuesday nights. You should watch that. Okay, I'm digressing, but yeah, the Cheneys, terrible. We've got RFK Jr., who wants to save us from eating poisoned food and, you know, reestablish health in America. Imagine that. And we've got Tulsi Gabbard, who's a brilliant woman who has left the Democrat Party because of their insanity. More and more decent Democrats who want to protect children, stop war, make life affordable for Americans. They're running over to the right side. And yeah, you can have Dick Cheney. It's a perfect match, you little warmongering witch. God, I really don't have anything nice to say about Kamala. I gotta go to church tomorrow. Oh no, Sunday. Yeah, I gotta go ask for forgiveness for how much loathing I have for this woman. All right, let's go to her next absurdity.
That young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children.
Up yours, okay? Why didn't Trump say this to her? Listen, lady, we would like an economy where we don't need a special favor from big daddy government to afford basics for our children. A crib and clothes, they need support. Yeah, get out of our damn pockets and let us keep more of our paycheck, and we won't need your special favors. Unbelievable. Stop printing money and sending it across the world and driving inflation up. Closing down pipelines, driving up the cost of energy, and we'll be able to afford clothing and cribs and car seats for our kids. Why didn't he say that? I'm mad at him for that. I really am, because it was an opportunity to say, get away, lady. I just that's she's doing us a favor. I'm sorry. I don't want government favors. Stay out of our lives. Stay away from our children. And this is the lady whose young families need support. This is the one who all she talks about is how women should abort their children. I'm so mad. I told you, I can't stand being gaslit and lied to. All right, I'm going to just rein it in. Maybe not. Yeah, just until I play this next clip. Oh, here's her next gem from the debate. Some more BS.
Met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity.
Sovereignty and territorial integrity. So she cares about their borders. She cares about them having sovereignty from from Russia and having territorial integrity. But what? Excuse me? Have you forgotten about the country that you were elected to lead, that you're already leading? Because that border, you immediately abandoned building the wall. You immediately started breaking the law and classifying everyone coming over as asylum seekers so that they could be qualified for welfare, even when they're not necessarily everybody's a refugee. We got to take the whole world in. Give me a break. You said you were going to go figure out root causes. You did a garbage job of that, because we haven't heard a damn thing on that report, have we? Nothing. And you just let them pour in, and you fly them all over the country. And then, even worse, they are literally not just flying them in after they walk across the border. And don't tell me that they're all broke, because getting a guide across the border costs between $5,000 and $15,000 a head. So you're paying all this. These people are paying all this money. Most Americans don't even have $1,000 in the bank, but they got between 5 and 15 to get here. They get here. They're fat. They wear Nikes. They got cell phones. They're better off already before they even get here. All right. But anyway, this is actually worse. So you may know this. Back in April, this report came out. And here, I'm just going to read this to you. This is about Mayorkas. and the head of Department of Homeland Security, and the fact that they are actually flying immigrants in from multiple destinations, so they don't have to make that journey. They don't have to walk. They don't have to swim across the Rio Grande. They actually get on a commercial jetliner, hosted and paid for by me and you, and they get flown here. This is April. Today, the House Committee on Homeland Security revealed documents obtained through a subpoena of the Department of Homeland Security that identified over 50 airport locations, including our nation's capital, used by DHS to help process into the country more than 400,000 inadmissible aliens through the administration's unlawful Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguan, and Venezuelan mass parole program. This is the Haitians who are eating the birds and the ducks and the animals in Springfield, Ohio, and the Venezuelans who have committed, I think, more crimes than any of the illegal aliens. They're the ones that have that Tren de Aragua gang, the ones that killed Jocelyn Nungre, the 12-year-old girl that they tortured, raped, and strangled to death outside of Houston. Anyway, it's the CHNV mass parole program. Parole, when it comes to immigration, just means like you get to just stay here. We're just going to let you go ahead, go free, go ahead. Yeah, like you're just paroled. Like you broke the law, but you go ahead. Yeah, you come back and check in with us later. We promise you're going to keep your word, right? So the program was officially launched in January of 23. So this is over a year and a half already. And the documents obtained by the committee cover the period from January to August 23, accounting for roughly 200,000 of these individuals just in that short period. According to these documents, as of mid-October 23, there were 1.6 million inadmissible aliens awaiting travel authorizations through this program. In the documents, DHS further admits that none of these individuals have a legal basis to enter the country before being paroled through the program, stating all individuals paroled into the U.S. are by definition inadmissible, including those paroled under the processes. So they have no legal basis, and they're just putting them on jetliners and flying them here to over 50 cities everywhere. Don't tell me this isn't some way to take over the country with new voters. I mean, what's the other alternative? What's the other reason? Chairman Mark Green said, these documents expose the egregious lengths Secretary Mayorkas will go to ensure inadmissible aliens reach every corner of the country, from Orlando to Atlanta to Vegas and San Francisco. Mayorkas's parole program is an unlawful sleight of hand used to hide the worsening border crisis from the American people. Implementing a program that allows otherwise inadmissible aliens to fly directly into the U.S., not for significant public benefit. Have you seen any benefit? Please, in the comments, if you have one benefit from all this illegal immigration, please share it. I'd love to know what's going on. Not for significant public benefit or urgent humanitarian reasons. Again, no urgent humanitarian reasons. Gotta really hit that home. This is all BS. As the Immigration and Nationality Act mandates, has been proven an impeachable offense. Following our subpoena and the House's impeachment vote, especially in light of Senate's complete failure to fulfill its duty to hold a trial, the committee will not rest until this administration is finally held accountable for its open borders agenda, blah, 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 blah. Hundreds of thousands of people. When was the last time you went on a vacation? You got to go fly on a plane to some new place where they paid for everything when you got there. They paid for your ticket. Then they gave you a nice hotel to stay in, and they gave you some food and some cash and a cell phone and a doctor and some clothes and a taxi cab wherever you wanted, or a bus pass if there was one available. When was the last time that happened for you, huh, America? Imagine. Let's see. What are we saying in the comments here? Cats for Trump. Yeah, kitty cats. There's more and more evidence coming out that really creepy things are happening in Springfield, Ohio. And there's been a lot of evidence coming out about what goes on in Haiti, like the animal abuses and the way they will just pick up an animal and just start a live writhing animal and just start ripping it apart. I've been seeing videos on Twitter that really bother me. I can only watch them for a couple of seconds. But yeah, Kamala's worried about Ukraine's sovereignty while all of this is going on here in the United States under her watch. Nobody called her out on that. Okay. And the next topic is a little touchy. And I don't like to talk about it, but I really think it's extremely important to talk about because the fact checkers lied, Kamala lied, and Donald Trump was right. And there's proof. Plenty of proof. We're going to talk about this.
Support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America.
All right. There's so much about this. I want to just give you a little bit, a second of background on this woman's moral compass, aside from the fact that we can see that she lies constantly. So last year, some senators introduced something called the Born Alive Act. And it's really horrible to think about it. But sometimes when an abortion is performed, the child survives the abortion. And with varying degrees of, injury. But sometimes children are viable at this point, and they could be saved. So they were trying. The Born Alive Act is if a child survives an abortion, that the doctor would be required to save the child. And all but one Democrat voted against it. And they all said, if a child is born alive, let it die. And Kamala put out, a statement and called the Born Alive Act extreme. And here's exactly what she said. House Republicans passed an extreme bill today that will further jeopardize the right to reproductive health care in our country. This is yet another attempt by Republican legislators to control women's bodies. I mean, hell, Kamala, at that point, that baby's no longer in a woman's body. That baby is outside and breathing. So anyway, that's one example where that bill is necessary because there are late-term abortions happening and there's viable children being aborted. Now, wherever you stand on abortion, I hope you'll sit and listen to this because if we don't, everybody's got these strong opinions on it, and most people that I talk to don't understand what's really going on and why people have strong opinions on it. In Virginia, it is legal to abort a third trimester baby. There has to be certain conditions met, one of which is if the doctors determine that a woman would suffer significant mental health impairment. Like, that is so vague. That could be like anything. Like, a woman could just come and be like, I'm totally stressed, I can't do this. And the doctors could be like, yeah, we don't want to mess with her. Because these are doctors that want to do abortions anyway. So I'm already concerned about their judgment. If a doctor is willing to do a third-term abortion, in my opinion, they have like a serious moral problem already. So that's the truth about what's going on in Virginia. There's another part in that law, though, in Virginia that says this is where they try to get somewhat moral. In this case, in Virginia, that if the baby after abortion is still alive, that the doctors are required to try to save the baby. Like, this is like, let's just torture this child and then, okay, try to keep it alive. Like, it's just the craziest shit in the world. Like, this is what's going on in America. Okay. Measures, but here's how they word it, though, which is what really troubles me. Measures for life support for the product of such abortion or miscarriage must be available and utilized if there is any clearly visible evidence of viability. So again, clearly visible evidence of viability. I don't trust these doctors' judgment already. But okay, fine. But the fact that they call the baby the product of the abortion and they dehumanize a life like that, how does this make them any different than any civilization ever that committed genocide or slavery or held slaves or Nazis who killed the Jews? Like how does this make us any better when we call a baby a product of a procedure? It's a human life. It's a human life. It's crazy. Then you have in Minnesota, I'm just going to give you one more example of where this is happening. I could do an entire documentary just on this topic because in only a couple hours, I found mountains of research. But in Minnesota, for example, the Department of Health reported in 2019 that there were 3 babies aborted, born alive, and left to die. In 2021, there were 5. So these are children who are born, basically put on a silver hospital cart tray and left to die. Some of them, it says, were given care so they didn't feel any pain. I don't know what that means. They drugged the babies, put them to sleep until they just died. Well, we're going about our business. This is what's going on in American hospitals. It's really sad. It's really disturbing. Okay. And then there's one more thing around this topic that she said. I told you this wasn't fun, this part. This part's no fun at all. Some comments are coming in here. In Pennsylvania, a doctor was killing babies after they were born. I had heard about that. Yeah. I had heard there was and actually I think he got in trouble for it. The guy that was basically using like pliers to just like snap their spines in their necks after they were born. I mean, like, there's something about like years ago when we talked about abortion, we didn't understand the science of it. We didn't know. And it was really always like done very respectfully early on. There was sadness around it. We knew what we were doing, but we also didn't really understand developmentally what was happening. So we didn't think it was a baby yet. Nowadays we know so much more about development and when it starts, and we know about pain and when it starts, and we know, but the morality around it, like to even consider a late term abortion, and it is happening. Way more than Kamala Harris would like to admit. And the way that those fact checkers just also added to the lies was very disappointing, very disappointing. Janine, it doesn't, and to make it worse, these babies are being sold for stem cell from the umbilical cord for the fountain of youth for the very wealthy. Okay, I don't know about that, but I do know I hadn't heard that. Nothing would surprise me though, given how barbaric we are as a society. I do know that Planned Parenthood sells body parts, kidneys and skin and this and that from abortion, the product, if you will, of abortions. They sell body parts for research. Some sick shit going on in this world, but it has been going on forever. Human beings are horrible if you haven't figured it out yet. And our job is to be not horrible. Here's some more horrible. Let's go. Guess who?
Does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government and Donald Trump certainly should not be telling a woman what to do with her body.
She says this with such conviction and so seriously, as if she has the moral high ground. Let me tell you something, Kamala. One does have to abandon their faith in order to support abortion. Okay. It is very simple. Listen, you guys make up your own minds. I'm not here to police people and try to, but the fact of the matter is that any of the world's major religions, Judaism, Islam, Christianity, none of them are compatible with abortion. Not one. I can speak to Judaism and Christianity and talk about, just it's throughout the Bible. This is mentioned. This is talked about, how to treat children and babies and sacrifice. So way back in the Old Testament, like Moses' days, we're talking, I don't know, like 3,500 years ago, there was this group called the Ammonites. And the Ammonites worshipped this fake god called Moloch. This is all in the Bible. They had this bronze statue that they made of Moloch with his arms outstretched, and they would heat it to being red hot. So the hands were like literally red hot, like pre-melting. And they would take babies and put them in the hands of the statue and just live babies, screaming live babies as a sacrifice to this god. Sometimes they instead threw the babies directly into a fire pit. And sometimes before making the sacrifice, they purified the babies with fire, which I think means that they burned them first before sacrificing them in the hands and the thing. Like, there's archaeological evidence that places where this was done have been found. This is nuts, right? You're thinking like thousands of years ago. And God is super, super duper clear in the Bible. Like, he's gonna smite if you do this or support this. It is very crazy. So for her to say that, oh my God's totally okay with this, is something only the devil would say. She is possessed. And I don't care if you think I'm crazy for saying it, because I think she's crazy for saying that we should be killing 1 million plus babies in America every year. I don't know. Call me crazy. I call me crazy. It's gone too far. I used to say, like many people, I personally am pro-life, but I am pro-choice for everybody else, until I started to dig into the science, until I started to dig into, like, really consider the morality, until I had a child of my own, until I started to read the Bible. It's not just the Bible that changed my mind on this issue. I want to tell you, you guys know, I like to drop in a Bible verse on most of my shows where I can. This is from Leviticus. This is around the issue of Moloch and the child sacrifice. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "Say to the people of Israel, any one of the people of Israel or of the strangers who sojourn," that's a hard word for me, sojourn in Israel, who gives any of his children to Moloch shall surely be put to death. Now, when God is talking about you being put to death, he's not just talking about in this life. He's talking about eternal death, not eternal salvation and eternal life. Like, it's it. That's it. You're toast. The people of the land shall stone him with stones. I myself, meaning God, I myself will set my face against that man and will cut him off from among his people, because he has given one of his children to Moloch to make my sanctuary unclean and to profane my holy name. Now, Moloch was a false god. This is what young women are doing now. It used to be like really a tragic situation when a young woman had an abortion. Now they're doing it, and they're saying, because of my career, like, they're knocking off their own children so that they can go get a $60,000 marketing job at some stupid company and be and try to be a boss babe. Like, they're idolizing a different god. It's a modern day Moloch. That's what we're doing here. And if the people of the land do at all close their eyes to that man when he gives one of his children to Moloch. So God's saying, like, don't be looking the other way here, and did not put him to death, then I will set my face against that man and against his clan, and will cut them off from among their people, him and all who follow him in whoring after Moloch. Like, wow. Whoring in that sense, I think it means, like, just abandoning your faith and chasing after this false idol. So yeah, that was a tough conversation. But yeah, Kamala, God's not cool with what you're pushing. We have it in writing from God. It's not just stuff I'm making up. It's just not our disagreement. I really get frustrated when she talks about faith at all, and they tell us that, Joe Biden is a devout Catholic. That's funny. That's funny. What do you guys got here in the comments for me? We got a troll. Oh, that's boring. Elena, can you discuss the abortion amendment in Florida that pro-choice people want to pass? To be honest, I have not had a chance to even dig into it. To be perfectly honest, I'm late on that, but I will try to discuss it in another episode. Any other questions, guys? Because I'm getting ready to wrap it up here. I just went off on Kamala for 40 minutes, and I got to be honest, I'm a little tired. And like I said at the beginning, there were so many more points in that. I could be sitting here if I had the time to prepare all of the points. I could be here all night sharing with you where she lied, where she's wrong, where she misleads. How about this? Remember this? Looking at Trump with a smirk and the thing on the chin. It actually, our chin was a little up. It was like, she practiced that. I mean, how embarrassing. This is somebody that we're supposed to take seriously. You didn't see Margaret Thatcher. For the love of God, or Queen Elizabeth acting like that. I am generally against female elected officials for this reason, because they conduct themselves like Kamala. Every now and then you'll get somebody that is a truly good leader. So I say Margaret Thatcher, Queen Elizabeth, they were exceptional in the way they conducted themselves. But this one, everything about her is awful. But she did do, she held her own in that debate. She got under Trump's skin. That was disappointing. I wish he had prepared, I think, better, because I think he thought he was walking into word salad Kamala. I don't think he gave her enough credit, and her handlers enough credit, that she was going to be going after him the way she did. And by just coming in with trumped up lie after trumped up lie after trumped up lie, she just peppered him, and he had to go on the defense. He had to explain some of the things. I don't know what a better strategy would have been. Maybe just ignore her and just speak the truth and speak your policies. But I don't think she won the debate, but I think it was a draw, to be perfectly honest. And I think he has the ability to completely railroad her, and he should have. Right after the debate, she asked for a new one, and for the next debate. And it's funny because everyone online's been like, after a boxing match, the loser asks for a rematch right away, always. So she must have known that she lost because she wants a rematch. and maybe that is the case. I definitely don't think she was a clear winner, but she didn't lose as hard as I was hoping she would. I'm going to be perfectly honest. What are you going to do? Somebody says America needs Kamala. Yeah, America needs Kamala like we need a nuke at all of our major cities. That's pretty much how much we need her. Nobody has anything good to say about Kamala. Even her supporters don't have anything good to say about her. They just have bad things to say about Trump. Anyway, follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I'm on the Base Mother there, because I do, I have been on my highlights at the top of my Instagram. You'll find my collection of Agenda 47 videos where I really describe his platform. And I only have probably, 6 or 8 up right now, but I'm doing the entire platform between now and the election, and I'm going to be getting through all of that. So thank you guys. Make sure, drop a sub, like the video, please comment. And if you liked the show tonight, invite somebody else to come next week, and looking forward to seeing you then. But for now, I'm going to get out of here. God bless you, and God bless America. Good night, guys. I can't figure out how to end it. Maybe I'm meant to stay. Yeah, like I'm having such tech problems. I'm such a spaz. I gotta tell you, no, I seriously can't end the stream. Huh. I'm just pressing buttons now. Well, if you guys got something you want to talk about, hit me in the comments. We got another minute. Eddie, if you're watching, come in and help me end this thing. All right, guys. God bless you. God bless America. Again, I'm out.